Yeah, the change. Sim. Sim, eu falo.
Oh, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. ladies, gentlemen, Africans, may I kindly have your attention for a minute. My name is Ayanda Ngwane. I am going to be your host for tonight. We are about to officially start our program. I'm just here to give you a few rules for the house. So at the entrance, by the left-hand side, my left-hand side, there is restrooms for ladies and gentlemen on the right-hand side. As we proceed, any moment from now, we are about to receive the President of PAP, His Excellency, together with the guest of honor for tonight. So, the next 5 minutes, kindly do enjoy the music by the band behind me that is going to give us a nice music just before we officially receive the guest of honor and the president. Thank you.
All right. Siapa yang? Vamos. Sí.
Ladies and gentlemen, for those who cannot perhaps hear English, there are headphones at the beginning of the red carpets, right by the restrooms. There is a table that is set for everybody who is comfortable to actually go all out with the headphones. We apologize, they are not in your table, but should you need it, they are outside right at the beginning of the red carpets. Thank you.
If only you could see the tea in the words you left behind. If only you could feel my heart just one more time. And even when I close my eyes, there's an image of your face. Once again, I come to be like that. We play. Soledad is not keeping falling away. Since the day that you were gone, why don't you leave me Soledad? In my heart you did and your memory lives on. Why did you leave me so? If only you could see the tears in the words you left behind. If only you could heal my heart just one more time. Maybe when I close my eyes, it's the image of your face. Once again, I can't Soledad, it's like keeping falling lonely. Since the day that you were gone, why didn't you listen?
Ladies and gentlemen, bonjour once again. I would like to have my colleague to come, and his name is Jeffrey, to speak to those who French-speaking Africans. Thank you.
Bonsoir à tous. C'est juste pour.
Good evening to you all. It's just to repeat a message that was transmitted a while ago. For those who speak other languages, we have interpretation headsets at the end of the hall. So for those who have difficulties with English, go behind there to get the headsets for interpretation. Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup.
If only you could see the tears in the words you left behind. If only you could feel my heart just one more time. And even when I close my eyes, there's an image of your face. And once again, I can't realize that I can replay. Soledad, it's like keeping falling lonely. Since the day that you were born, why did you leave me so alone? In my heart you left me lonely, and your memory lives on. Why did you leave me so alone? Walking down the street of Nottingville, so am free. I can't believe this world, an empty place it has come to be. I will give away if we could only be the same. 'Cause I can't stand up. Solid, keep me falling lonely. Since the day that you were born, why did you leave me solid? In my heart, you and your memory lives on. Why did you leave me solid? Solid. If I keep me falling lonely since the day that you were born, why did you leave me so down? If you were and your memory lives on, why did you leave me so down?
Men. One, two. Thank you. That was beautiful. Thank you very much. As we are about to receive His Excellency the President and the guest of honor, I would like to call upon one of our renowned South African poets to come and recite a beautiful poet as we usher in the President and his guests.
Tsileng kinto ma sutang tsileng kinto ma nano nyana sinya mafi sheshe palisa hagadi palisa felleng halala ya si toro toro halala ya lisiba halala ya tumu halala ya lukupe ke ntloheleng ke tlotlise di khaebane hagadi bata dikakapaba hale ho tswa maboleng bana ba batho bana ba Basotho ko ke re ntloheleng bonna ke boke bulang kgoro ke kene moholo ka Masedi o sa ikgethetse nna tswere kgaleko ntsha lehlaso ke re ke moteba seteba le metsi ke kwena ke mohlakwana le kwana dumelang. We are travelers. We carry our names with a beat on our feet. Re bagolong, bakwena, batlhaping, bahlakwana le bakgatla. We are some Buru North butterflies. And I stand on the backs of those who are called Bahanka, singing songs that the rain and the winds never whispered to Dinuka, but Imubaka waiting to be praised. With the buzz of the bees, the beats of the drums, they chant to Mansard choruses. I stride on shoes of giants, creating the legacy of their quest, embracing their names in verses, reflecting their voluptuous looks on lakes, pulling their strings from Khalachadi, placing them on Buruaba Africa. Tikangwayabana comes from the reeds. They have built Maluti Mountains with their hands, beautifully engraved our narrations on sunburned hills, leaving their birthmarks on olive caves. We are some Buru North butterflies, glittering with diamonds attached to our wings. Living after Asian tales, our souls are wrapped in long wedding shawls. We, the wise ones who speak in riddles, where our words pass through village gossip metaphors. Our lands are marked by chocolate pebbles and pale skies. These lands where warriors glide effortlessly over rocks, striding easily across long life distances. My people have placed the graves of their kings on top of Tabagusiu. They have sharpened thorns to protect our languages, allowed their spears to rise in anticipation to create the intimate magic. And in the night of wisdom, we sing in metaphors. We come out of our cocoons like little babies covered with life. We jump like butterflies that have reached their glory. Our sounds travel fair on the still air of storytelling and spell dance. We sing with darkness calling our names. And at dawn, the rays of the rising sun kisses our lips as Virgo, the morning star, make our footprint. We are Samburu, not butterflies. Hitiagosha, Ritswakapina, as the forest echoes our clan names. We, the sand people, constantly in search of the grazing sun. Our red veins mark the soul, and the split blood of our warrior sheep dances with the safari snakes. We are Samburu, not butterflies. Our roots are rooted in Lole mountains. Rere, Tobela Sikukuni, Mampuru Mupedi Moholo, Mushasha Ilana, Rebarolom Bakwena Batlapim Batlakwana Lebahat, Hutsa Musuwa Tunta, Libo Mankurani, Libo Mantatis. And we are merely travelers. We carry our names with the beat on our feet. We chant Africa, Africa, Africa. Gerisutang tsileng kintonama, nanonyana sinyamafi, sheshe palisa hagadi palisa feleng, halala ya sitoro toro, halala ya lisiba, halala ya tumu, halala ya luku. Hey, thank you so much. Thank you.
In my language, we say musho. I would like for the poet once again, from where you are, as His Excellency the President and his guests walks in, recites once again those beautiful words.
Ke semomotela, ke kgaebane, ke mmamutu, ke semomotela, ke ngwana Tharientsho, tori, tori, ke kodi ya malla, ke paka mahlomola, ke totobatso tubuselo sekwankwetla, yena he, ke mokaubere.
If I was at home, I was going to say, because when the king of the jungle walks in, the animals, they roar. Thank you, our poetess. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to call upon Miss Lindiwe Khumalo to do an official welcome remarks for the day. Thank you.
The President of the Pan-African Parliament, Chief Fortune Charumbira, honorable members of the Bureau of the Pan-African Parliament, the representative of the host government, the government of South Africa, special guests, Honorable Dr. Gertrude Mongela, and Honorable PLO Lumumba, Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, and diplomats representing various states, the head of ECOSOC, our sister organization within the African Union, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and all protocol observed. My name is Lindiwe Khumalo. I'm the clerk of the Pan-African Parliament. And this evening I have the honor of offering a few welcome remarks on behalf of the President of the Pan-African Parliament and the Bureau. Excellencies and honorables, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this dinner is a reflective dinner that has been called and convened by the leadership of the Pan-African Parliament in order to reflect over a meal and bread, reflect on the journey that the Pan-African Parliament has walked for the past 20 years. It's an opportunity for the Pan-African Parliament to reflect on its successes, what it has got right, but also reflect on its challenges and where it might have done better. But more importantly, it has the opportunity this evening to also reflect on the way forward. For this purpose, our special guests will later on share some perspectives and insights on what the Pan-African Parliament has been to Africa, but also what it can be to Africa. And therefore, my job here is very short. It's really to welcome you. Please feel free. The Pan-African Parliament is your home. The Pan-African Parliament is people's parliament. It was established to bring together African voices to impact the policies that are formulated at continental level. And therefore, we are very pleased to receive you this evening and to enjoy your company. Please enjoy your meal, the festivities, and the company of those that you have at your table. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, a bit of power is very dangerous. So I'm going to abuse power right now because I want to change the mood of this house. Because tonight we are not at our offices, we are we are letting our head down, we are having fun, we are celebrating 20 years of Pan-African Parliament. Allow me to abuse the power and call upon one of the greatest African musicians. We know her from the stage of Sarafina, the iconic Sarafina, if I may say so. Kanyo Mapumulo, may you kindly come to stage and mesmerize us, because tonight we are here to dance before everything else. Please, Miss Kanyo Mapumulo, come through.
Good evening, South Africa. Good evening, Africa. What? Hey. Wemienwa, musonga kotwa. Wemienwa, musonga kotwa. Yonga komikani. Musonga kotwa. Yonga komumto. Musonga kotwa. Yonga komumto. Musonga kotwa. Yonga komumpe. Musonga kotwa. Khuluma nazo ntombi abaphumula abashimana zikakhulisa ngolana wena ngomzukulo sala wabona abanye abathi short division divided by no time hibike lo hayibo Bonsoir. Chesto. Anyone who knows this song? It's my favorite song by Salificate. Africa. Africa, 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 yeah. Everybody stand up. Stand up and dance. We are in Africa. Africa, all alone. All alone. Shake what your mama gave you. You know, as Africans, we are so talented. That's we are. That's we are. Oh, Africa. I'm not going to put that. What I have been saying. What Zimbabwe, Botswana, Africa. Shape what your mama gave you. Thank you so much. Africa, 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 yeah. Africa. Once again, Africa, Africa, yeah. Thank you so much.
So, the next time I'm about to break rules, you don't have to worry because you saw what happens, right? Ladies and gentlemen, we move right along with our program for tonight. And let me remind you once again that tonight is a big celebration of the Pan-African Parliament. We are celebrating 20 years. That is 2 decades. Also, allow me to remind the French-speaking Africans that the devices are available by the door. Do not be left behind, be it in song or everything that is happening tonight. All of us should hear what is happening. Let us move right along, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to call upon the first speaker for tonight. A message of solidarity by the Dean of African Diplomatic Corporations, Ambassador Andre Nzapanyeke. Kindly a round of applause for Ambassador.
Next time, pronounce my name properly. Good evening. Good evening. Honorable Chief Fortune Sharambira, President of the Pan-African Parliament, Honorable Mongela Gertrude, former President of the Pan-African Parliament, happy to have you with us. Honorable Vice President and members of the Bureau of the Pan-African Parliament, Mr. William Keru, the head of the African Union ECOSOC, Excellencies, dear colleagues, ambassadors and high commissioners who are here in large numbers, I can see some of them. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be brief. I'm here in my capacity as Dean of African Head of Diplomatic Missions, accredited to the Republic of South Africa, to deliver on behalf of my colleagues and also on behalf of the member states that we represent, a message of support to the Pan-African Parliament. Message of support on this day of the celebration of the 20th anniversary of this memorable institution. Indeed, in March 2004, African states, members of the African Union, decided to put in place the Pan-African Parliament. To put it in place to promote the advancement of human rights, democratic norms, and peace and security across the continent. The Pan-African Parliament stands, as you all know, for what our founding fathers were dreaming of. It is meant to be a symbol of unity and collaboration among African nations and to promote the ideals of Pan-Africanism and regional integration. The Pan-African Parliament is therefore a creation of each of our nations. However, due to internal challenges, many African countries tend to forget their responsibility and duties towards this institution. Such, we see many files forgotten in office drawers or shelves, making ratification, for example, delayed. The frequent rotation in many of our administrations makes this situation worse. Therefore, this occasion should not be only an occasion to celebrate, but it should also be an occasion to remind our governments and people of their obligation and commitment towards an important institution such as the Pan-African Parliament. We African ambassadors and high commissioners, based in the same host country as the Pan-African Parliament, have the obligation to stand by the side of this institution and to contribute to awareness raising across the continent about the achievement as well as the challenges that limit the capacity of the Pan-African Parliament to be a result-based institution. Let's hope that after 2 decades, time has come for us Africans to recognize the Pan-African Parliament as a key player in the construction of what is usually called the African we want. An Africa that should be a war-free and an economically integrated continent. We encourage, Mr. President, the Pan-African Parliament to continue working hand in hand with a group of African heads of diplomatic missions who are a direct link with their respective countries. But the PAP should also continue working closely with the outer NEPAD and the APRM, two of the key institutions that the African Union has put in place for the implementation of Agenda 2063. Let me not be too long and stop here and wish you all a happy celebration of the 20th anniversary of the Pan-African Parliament. Honorable President and all members of the PAP, congratulations for the good work you are doing. I thank you all for your attention.
Thank you, Honorable Ambassador Andre. I've been practicing your surname, sir. Allow me to have another opportunity to Nzapayeke. Thank you. So I'm a true African. Don't be fooled with these eyes. I'm actually an authentic African woman. Moving right along, ladies and gentlemen, we go straight to the message of solidarity by the head of ECOSOCC, Secretarian Mr. William Carew.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. I'll try as much as I can not to commit some of the suicide that you have comfortably indicated that you have committed in pronouncing some of the names here. But let me start by recognizing the presence of His Excellency Chief Fortune Chiwembera, President of the Pan-African Parliament. Let me also recognize distinguished honorable members of the Pan-African Parliament Bureau, Ambassador and Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, honorable members of the Parliament, Madam Clerk, Ms. Lindewe Kamalo, Professor Patrick Lumumba from the PLO Lumumba Foundation, Excellencies, honorable members, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It is my singular honor and privilege to be here today and to join you in commemorating the 20th anniversary celebration of the establishment of the most important organ of the African Union, the Pan-African Parliament, under the theme 2 decades of the Pan-African Parliament, reflecting on the journey and charting the path forward. I am even more excited to be here with you today because it happens to be the same period that the Economic, Social, and Cultural Council, known as AU-ECOSOC, is also celebrating its 20th anniversary. When the then Organization of African Unity was transitioning to today's African Union, one of the most fundamental underlying principles was the need for a paradigm shift from an organization of government to a union of the people. Parliament and ECOSOC, as the main citizen representation and citizen-led organs respectively, stemming the importance of both organs to the African Union vision. In fact, both organs happen to be 2 out of the 8 initial organs that was explicitly mentioned in the African Union Constitutive Act of 2000. Our relationship is one that is conceived in the same year. Excellencies, honorable members, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today I stand before you in solidarity and in sharing glory with you, recognizing the important role the important role that the Pan-African Parliament has played in the last 20 years. Despite challenges, our unique parliament continues to position itself as one of the most enviable organs with a quasi-legislative mandate, one that we are hopeful that the future will see the transition to a fully legislative organ of the Union. While congratulating you, it is a good time to recall some of the successes or successful collaboration between Pan-African Parliament and ECOSOC, including ECOSOC cluster committees and the Pan-African Parliament committees meeting. In the spirit of building synergies and complementarities, transversality and leveraging on comparative advantage, we have had key engagement on our various platforms, and I am optimistic that the 20 years anniversary will usher in new and enhanced priorities that will further strengthen our working relationship. Before I conclude, Excellencies and honorable members, I would like to bring to your attention that the continent still faces significant challenges. Our governance and democracy are at a crossroad. The recent upsurge of unconstitutional changes of government, protest and popular uprising, voter apathy and lack of interest in elections, as witnessed in recent elections on the continent, to be reflection that we all should look into. Terrorism is at our doorstep. The provision of public services continue to reduce significantly. We are losing significant majority of our skilled and unskilled workforce to other parts of the world. I do recognize that much has been done and is still being done by relevant stakeholders. We may, however, need to double our efforts to achieve a continent that will be fit for generations to come. Continuous dialogue with our citizens is very key and essential at this point. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen and honorable members, I wish to once again congratulate the Pan-African Parliament on its successful 20 years journey in building the Africa we all want. ECOSOC has also extended an invitation to His Excellency the President and members of the Pan-African Parliament to join us in Accra, Ghana, on the margin of the media coordination meeting in Accra, where we will also celebrate our 20th anniversary as well. We look forward to having you on this momentous occasion, and we look forward to continue strengthening our collaboration and working with you. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Williams Kareu. Our next message of solidarity comes from Secretary General of AFC FTA, His Excellency Wamgele Mene. They are not here today, so the message will be played on our screens. Thank you. The whole time I'm tempted to say, thank you, honorables, because us normal people who are not members of the parliament, we think, by the way, everyone who is in parliament, they are called honorable. Am I correct? So if I meet people wherever, on the street, in my workplace, I always greet people, when they immediately introduce themselves, they are members of the parliament, I immediately say, honorable. Is that the correct word to use? Is that? Honorables, okay. I'll stick to honorables. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to break rules once again, because clearly I'm the only person who's brave enough in this house to break rules. So before the next video, the video of the montage of the history of Pan-African Parliament, it fits that I bring on these youngsters, young Africans, to come and showcase the talent, the gifts of young Africans. First, I'll call upon the Tswana group, immediately followed by a Zulu dance group. Thank you. Come, my children. Tswana dance group. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I almost forgot, as someone who is very familiar with the entertainment industry, that I cannot call an artist after an artist before introducing an artist. Please, it is our own protocol in the entertainment industry. So allow me to give an honor and call upon our traditional Zulu dancers to come and give us a dance and a song. Are you guys ready? Nina wende mnyama. Nina bakaphunga nomakeba. Ngabe ready na? Well, it looks like they are not ready yet. They are ready? Oh, siyabonga, siyabonga. I guess baphe indlebe. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, another warm round of applause. If I were to come back in my next life, I will choose to come back as an African yet again, looking at the beautiful and a powerful history of an African history through our democracy, our culture, etc. I am honored, and I believe each and every one in this room, we are honored. And today, we are celebrating this milestone, 20 years, ladies and gentlemen. Another round of applause. Moving right along, I would like to call upon the former member of the Pan-African Parliament, the former chief whip of the leading party, the ANC, Professor Matole Serofo Motsecha. Sir.
Honorable President, Chief Fortune Charumbira, the Dean of the African Ambassadors, distinguished members of the Bureau, a distinguished Senegalese scholar, Sheikh Anta Diop, once said, African history will never be complete unless it is linked with that of Egypt. I want to reverse that and say that the history of Egypt will not be complete until it is linked with the history of ancient Ethiopia, now the Sudan, and Southern Africa, Serbia. Ancient Ethiopia is the birthplace of the arts, sciences, and philosophy. She produced the scholars who educated the Greeks and Roman philosophers and scientists. In recent time, we know of African scholars like Ali Mazrui and many others. Today, we have another African scholar who will be addressing us. My task here is to introduce that scholar. But before I do that, I must say that the Pan-African Parliament offers African scholars and intellectuals an opportunity to engage on matters that will contribute to the realization of African Agenda 2063. The scholar I'm referring to today is Professor Patrick Lumumba, a Kenyan lawyer and activist. He is the director of the Kenya School of Law. He has also served as the director of the Kenya Anti-Corruption Commission, known and renowned for his eloquent delivery of Pan-Africanist speeches and offering African solutions to African problems. His approach is provocative and inspirational. BAP is pleased to listen to the insights of Professor Lumumba. Professor Lumumba, the stage is yours. Thank you very much.
Promise.
Io also to give a whole interpretation headset thing because it feels like many people don't have it. So you say it in English and then I say it in French. Okay. Yeah. Before we come back.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we were awaiting the rest of the speech from Professor Lumumba, we would proceed, maybe catch up with him a few minutes later. And those of us who are French-speaking Africans do have an access to devices at the beginning of the red carpet, right outside, to make things easy for them.
C'est juste pour répéter que pour ceux qui ont besoin d'interprétation, nous avons des écouteurs juste à l'entrée. Donc faites signe, levez la main et on va venir vers vous si c'est possible. Mais il y a l'interprétation qui est disponible. and with a thank you. Yeah, is it enough? Just continue.
Well, moving right along with the program, ladies and gentlemen, I would call upon once again Professor Moshekga to thank for us Professor Lumumba.
President Fortune Charumbira, distinguished members of the Bureau, ladies and gentlemen, I think you heard for yourself that Africa is not wanting in scholarship. We therefore are privileged to have to thank Professor P.L.O. Lumumba for his informative and insightful speech. I think you'll agree with me that he deserves to be in the African Renaissance Forum, which has been established to coordinate dialogues on Pan-Africanism and African cultural renaissance. I think that forum will also speak to what President Charumbira terms the mainstreaming of Pan-Africanism in all programs of this August Parliament. I therefore have the honor to invite Honorable President of the Pan-African Parliament, Honorable Fortune Charumbira, to take the floor to make his remarks on the evolution of the Pan-African Parliament. President Charumbira, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Professor Matole, for inviting me to the podium. Our guest of honor, Dr. Gertrude Mongela. Thank you for that applause. She's here. She will soon come to take the podium and tell us about Pan-African Parliament. Members of the Bureau present here, we have two, Professor, the first Vice President, Masouda, Honorable Lucia Passos of the Bureau present here, the Dean of African Ambassadors, His Excellency Zapaeke, and members of the Diplomatic Corps, and we thank you for coming to attend this occasion. Professor Lumumba, the Executive Director of the Lumumba Foundation, Head of OCOSOC, Mr. William Karum, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, I've been asked to talk about the evolution of Pan-African Parliament. I should admit that in the previous speeches, there was a mention of some issues of evolution. In order to cut on time, I want to pick a few issues. Where have we come from? The origins of Pan-African Parliament. It was established 2004 and launched that year. After the formation of the OAU in 1963, PAP is instructive to know that PAP only, or the parliament was only brought on board after 41 years of the establishment of the OAU. Why did the PAP come after 41 years? Why was it brought on board? It's because the founding fathers realized that without a parliament, the OAU was a union of member states only, not a union of the citizens of the continent. So there was a missing link. Without a parliament, the OAU was incomplete. There was a missing link in the continental governance architecture that connects member states to people and keep them attuned to the people's needs. An ideal governance framework, a parliament is the supreme institution on the demand side of accountability. The parliament comprises the people's elected representatives, as we all know. Therefore, if you want to understand after 1963, when was the idea of having a representative body within the OAU then? You can trace that back to 1970, where with several resolutions were reached and declarations by the OAU heads of state from 1970. And then there's the Addis Ababa, 1970-73 in Addis Ababa, Kinshasa, Zaire then, 1976. The resolutions kept talking about the need for the people to be part of the governance architecture of the AU. Then the Libreville, 1977. Then Lagos, in 1980, affirmed and reiterated the need for African economic integration. But the most decisive step was made in Abuja, 1991. I think this has been mentioned. And the treaty then was adopted, and to achieve this, Article 7 provides for the establishment of PAP as an organ of the community of the OAU. And it says the role of PAP will be to ensure the full participation of African citizenry in the economic development integration of the continent. And then you find that in 2001, with what is popularly known as the SERT protocol, SERT Libya, that protocol basically forms the foundation of the Pan-African Parliament. Then on the 14th December 2003, we then see the entry into force of the protocol to the treaty establishing the African Economic Community relating to the Pan-African Parliament. That is almost 2.5 years after its adoption. And on March 18, on 18 March 2004, the inaugural session of PAP, which lasted 3 days and was attended by 202 MPs from 41 countries. I can then jump and say, thereafter, the main event now of the Malabo Protocol, as we now talk of the legislative side, after 2004, it was envisaged that the PAP would become legislative after 5 years. So we see the tenure of the first president, Madam Mongela, and her bureau lasted from 2004 to 2009, 5 years. It had been envisaged that after 5 years, Pan-African Parliament would become legislative. Unfortunately, it did not happen. And then came the Malabo Protocol, which is one of its aims is to make PAP legislative. And we see this protocol on 27 June 2014, when it was adopted by the heads of state. And it was expected to transform the PAP into a legislative body of the African Union. But this power up to now, this has not happened. So the legislative power is not yet realized. And most people then say, so where will the PAP go if it doesn't get the full powers to legislate? What does it mean? Yes, it is consultative now and advisory. That is, after 20 years, it is consultative and advisory. But I want to do a comparison as I look at the evolution of PAP, a comparison with the European Parliament. So in our case, we are 20 years old, no legislative powers. The EU Parliament, as you all may know, held its first meeting 19 March 1958. It was then called the European Parliament, the European Parliament Assembly. 4 years later, 30 March, the EU changed its name to the European Parliament. And moving fast forward, on 7 February 1992, that is 34 years of existence, the European Parliament, then there was a treaty on European Union which introduces what is called co-decision procedure in certain areas of legislation. That is, legislation could be passed only with the approval of both of the Council of the European Union and the European Parliament. So there was co-legislation. And thereafter, we see on the 26th of February 2001, the treaty increases Parliament's legislative and supervisory powers. The point I'm making in the comparison with the EU Parliament is that it took more than 30 years for the EU Parliament to become legislative. And we hope we are on that road. But we don't need to take 30 years ourselves, because those are the pioneers. The pioneers naturally would move much slower. We are now more experienced. But so as we go, the issues of democratic legitimacy of the African Union without a powerful parliament remains an issue. And that we are still struggling with what institutional powers are appropriate for the Pan-African Parliament. But I believe we are on that road. Eventually, some may be reluctant in various member states, but we cannot shortchange the citizens of the continent. Only the Pan-African Parliament is a true representative of all the citizens on this continent. And we believe we'll get there one day. We will become legislative. I thank you. Good night. I've been asked and reminded that I should now proceed to invite our guests of honor tonight. Madam Mongela, Dr. Gertrude Mongela, she has a unique, strong, competent history. She was the first president at Pan-African Parliament, and I was lucky to work with her in the first 5 years of the launch of Pan-African Parliament. Those years I was a young boy, and she would send me wherever she wanted, even to collect some water for her. I would do that. And that is very true. She took me as a son. And I don't think that she still remembers. Madam Mongela, do you remember that you asked me to go to Sudan? You were supposed to attend a meeting in Khartoum. And you said, Charumbira, can you go and attend for me? So those were the beginning of blessings on me to become president. Because the president said, can you go to Khartoum? And then when there were discussions on reforming the AU, 2008 in Silt, she said, I want to go with you to go and argue this case. And I traveled with her. She's an iron lady, true iron lady. She would take on heads of state at any opportune moment defending PAP. And she would preside over proceedings in that chamber very, very effectively. She has been a member of 3 parliaments. The National Parliament in Tanzania, member of the East African Legislative Assembly, Pan-African Parliament, 3 parliaments. I think we should clap for that one. Yes. None of us in their history may have such a CV. She has also been a minister under one of the celebrated leaders of this continent, under the late former president of Tanzania, Julius Mwalimu Nyerere. She served as a minister under Nyerere. She can share a lot about Beijing. She's one of the pioneer women who fought on all the issues that emerged out of Beijing. And one time she moved to New York to fight, and she stayed there for some time. I can go on and on, but I cannot leave out to say she was once an ambassador of Tanzania, I can't remember, to Germany or somewhere, an ambassador of Tanzania. Let me stop here because the CV is going on and on. But let me ask here to come to walk here, our president of PAP, 2004 to 2009.
Let the sun rise, the sun rise, the sun rise. Let the sun rise, the sunrise, voices shout. Africa crafted the lines of the universe, making the sun to shine at the birth of every being. The fire that lights through which new rays of life breaks. A moment in time when our new voices collectively must heal the diseased land souls together, linking the aged and the unborn, turning our childless graveyards into laughing homes. The chains of our past should not bundle us forever, but seal the lips of slavery caves. Our people should stop to live under the tyranny of silence and turn deserted lands into farm fields. We must sow the seeds of Ubuntu, building and shaping our future on firm ground, so that our royal languages can echo proverbs at the place where ancestors walked. Let us help the poor and the lame to open closed doors so that they can dress our hearts differently. Let us move earth, ensemble our villages so that our tears can become raindrops for the sea of education, for the rivers of prosperity, for the lakes of democracy. Let us dress our behaviors like monks. Allow our offsprings to pick fruits from the highest trees of spirituality so that they can destroy the walls of orphan villages and give each home a name. We are pillars of a proud vote, bound by a period in which every being must speak color sounds of togetherness. Let our voices find ways in which the webs of life are woven, a place where mothers cannot escape the messages of their own bodies. Let's allow our father spirits to stretch and match science, history, and politics. And let our unique voices teach us how to dig and plant and water our seeds so that we can buy our children's smiles. So let the sun rise, the sun rise, the sun rise. Let the sunrise voices shout. So may we all walk with the power of being an African before us. May we walk with the power of being an African behind us. May we walk with the power of being an African below us. May we walk with the power of being an African above us. May we walk with the power of being an African all around us as we walk Pan-African Parliament way and celebrate 20 years. Hobane ke setsoto le bokgabane ba mosadi wa mo Afrika. Ka botle le seriti sa hae ke sila tsatsi ngwana ditshomong. Ke mmagutsitse ke palesa entle tshwanahadi. Ke le kopo wa kopo sela. Ke mmamo haua hauhela. Ke metsi a foro wa foro sela. Ke mabele wa khalana. Let her sunrise, her sunrise, her sunrise. Let her sunrise voices shout.
Honorable President of the Pan-African Parliament, Bureau members, honorable members of the Pan-African Parliament, Excellencies, distinguished invited guests, media houses present here, ladies and gentlemen. This is a great evening. It's in this same place where Pap was welcomed by the Republic of South Africa. For those who are here, we remember it. Unfortunately, I can only see of the two of the survivors, Honorable Katuntu and Honorable Charambira. Those are the survivors of the first parliament, and I want to congratulate you. But members of parliament, you should not take this as a pride, because that kills democracy. In a democratic process, we should allow changes. changes should take place. So PAP is a very good example of the democratic processes where we leave room for others to come and perform. So Honorable Charumbira and Honorable Katuntu, I congratulate you for having been survivors, but at the same time, I want to encourage the members not to envy you. You deserve it, and stay in Parliament. I want to take this opportunity to thank our hosts, that is the Pan-African Parliament under the presidency of Chief Charumbira, and the host country, where this July session is taking place. We thank you for the warm welcome which has always been accorded to us whenever we come to this country. Since the establishment of this supranational parliament, PAP, PAP has gone through a number of historic agenda, and it has come this way 20 years. Our coming together today gives me an opportunity to examine the 2 decades of the Pan-African Parliament, reflecting on the journey and charting the path forward. The first president of the the first president of the Pan-African Parliament, I have kept keen interest on the development of this organ of the African Union, observing the strides this parliament is making. For me to be here in person 20 years after, I was a young woman, and now I'm a bibi in Kiswahili, which means a grandma. So I think today you are going to look at me in a different way, not the way you saw me 20 years. I was very vibrant and with a lot of energy and arguments. Now, 20 years after the establishment of this parliament, it is a great honor for me to be here, because I'm not sure whether I'll be there 20 years more to come. Now, I remember, this reminds me of the members of parliament and staff who were there at its initial stage, struggling under difficult conditions to establish the institutions. I've also seen one of the drivers who was here when the parliament was established. I'm saying this deliberately because sometimes when we begin a new institution, the people at the lowest level suffer the most. So I was very proud to see this driver, I think it's Issa, that he was around. At that time of establishment, the conditions were very challenging, and we all went through it with determination, commitment, and sacrifice. The host country, that is the Republic of South Africa, worked tirelessly to ensure that everything ran and operated as expected. For honorable members, staff, and the host country, you all have my innermost gratitude and appreciation. Looking 20 years back, there are few questions which come to my mind. I'll start with a simple question, and that is, from where we started to today, where are we? When the president was giving his speech, he said, we are not yet a legislative body. Are we still there to Pap's slogan of one Africa, and one voice? Are we still there? Are we still singing the same song of one Africa, one voice? Do we hear this voice in our countries and in parliaments of being one Africa and one voice? If the answer is yes, then we are moving in the right direction. And if the answer is no, then the voices have died. And we are slowly getting irrelevant. Would any of you want to be pronounced irrelevant? Or do we still have time to work harder to raise our voices of one Africa and one voice? We should not be afraid to do our assessment. Let's reassess ourselves so that we can revamp and create new vibes to push the core agenda of making Africa a prosperous continent. The 20 years anniversary is an age of a person who could be mature and independent. This parliament should also be mature and independent in its functions, and the promotion of African Union objectives as stipulated in Article 3 of the Constitutive Act of the African Union. Let us measure how our voices are heard in terms of oversight of member states, but also on the social and political side. The voices I'm sorry. That's why I said I'm no longer young. I'm just an old lady. The voices of this parliament is very critical and important to elevate the livelihoods of its people, the African people. Yes, we can, if we are determined to be heard through different platforms so that our youth and the coming generation know what we stand for. Our operations should be seen to be in synergy with the national parliaments, regional and continental parliaments. PAP should re-examine its participation in resolutions of conflict, peace, security, and on the continent and the world at large. I remember how PAP used to work closely with the regional economic communities like the SADC, East African Community, ECOWAS, and we also reached out to European Union and Latin America, and we are still moving fast to look for friends and partnership of similar functions worldwide. And they used to visit us. The European Parliament would send a delegation every session. I hope you have kept that relationship. Now, PAP also believed and worked on the concept of African solutions for the African people. I think you have heard it from Lumumba, who said it very clearly. And it's within this parliament, we were also committed to work to solve the African problems according to the African people. And this can only be possible if there is interagency linkages and coordination. Achievement of building prosperous Africa can only be possible if its people are living, trading, moving in peaceful environment. The ongoing conflicts and political tensions happening in some of our member states should be of great concern to PAP. Today, PAP should pay attention to the conflicts resulting from elections. If we do not address this matter, it will spread out like bushfire, and in the end of many countries will be in an unrest situation leading to development deadlock. And this, we should be very careful because it will give an opportunity for neo-colonialism. Democracy of human rights at the center stage of development of Africa, taking into consideration of the history of its struggle in liberation from slavery, colonialization, and political economic independence will remain the history of the past. This reminds me of the role of the Pan-African Parliament in promoting the equality of human beings, non-discriminatory and marginalization rules and laws in our parliaments. In this case, women and men should be considered and treated equal. I repeat, women and men should be considered and treated equal. Men and women belong and own the resources of this planet. Therefore, none of them is an invitee on this planet. Women are not invitees, and men are not invitees. They both belong to the planet. Finally, let me use this opportunity to appeal for the strong Pan-African Parliament. According to the Constitutive Act, PAP is one of the African Union organs created in Article 5C, and therefore is born by the Union and is not a stepchild of the Union. Get that one clearly, and I mean it. PAP is not a stepchild of the Union. It's the child of the Union. It should be loved by the Union. It should be cared by the Union. And it should be cared by the Union. It should be nurtured by the Union for growth and development. In order to allow PAP to function and carry out its mandate, I can't expect anything lower than that. That if the union does not nurture the growth of the development of PAP, PAP will not be able to perform its functions. And I'm glad President Charumbira mentioned that I used to take the heads of states to hold them responsible, lobbying each member state's president. I hope, President Charumbira, you are doing the same. If you cannot communicate with the heads of states and hold them responsible for developing the parliament, we'll never be able to perform what we are supposed to be doing. And that is not expected of any other person to do it except the president and the bureau. PAP, to function and carry out its mandate, I appeal for the African Union and particularly the heads of states. Let them hear me wherever I am, because some of them are still sitting they are still on the seats of power. They know me. I appeal to them to re-examine the methodology of treatment of the Pan-African Parliament. I mean it. I've been following things. By providing sufficient human and technical and financial support. If I'm wrong, can you say you are wrong? Providing human, resource, technical, and financial support. I know your budgets are getting lower and lower and lower. PAP cannot function with the reduction of budget, but there must be an increased budgetary consideration by the union. In that case, the union should watch out that other organs of the union do not overstep the parliamentary mandates of PAP. I think you understand me. In Kiswahili, we say, you are not put under the armpit of any other organ. You are allowed to do your work as mandated by the union. One thing I know, you have no powers now of independent election observer missions. Am I right? That was our work. That is what we can be proud of. We were really, instead of having observer missions only from other countries or other continents, PAP was observing electoral processes independently and writing reports. Go into your documentary center here, you will see the reports which were done by our members of parliament. And therefore I appeal for any other organ not to overstep the mandates of PAP. And I also want to just ask the members of Pan-African Parliament, particularly the Speaker and the Bureau, to communicate, to develop communication mechanisms with the union as their real father, not their stepfather or mother. That should be the relationship. For the members of parliament, need commitment, courage to act. I repeat this. For members of parliament, you need commitment, courage to act, and revival of our slogan of one Africa, one voice. Thank you very much. You see, this is one of the survivors, and I'm so proud to see him. Isa, where are you? These are the people I left here, and I hope they are still giving you good service. Oh, Katuntu. Honorable Katuntu, he has made a second term. Isn't it that? Yes. Oh, congratulations. The Bagandas are very proud of you, I must say. Naraisi, I'm sorry, I'm talking Kiswahili. Now, good. Here are the people I knew. And I'm so proud to see the other members of the Bureau, including two vice presidents. At that time, we were also two. Madame Loom from Chad, and I know she's still a member of this parliament, and myself, we were representing the female side. And the other men were Honorable Van Dunem, whom I was sad to learn that he has gone to his creator. And the other one from Libya was who? Farhat. I've been looking for him. I haven't traced him. I don't know where he is after the revolution of Libya. So, asanteni sana, nashukuru sana.
Fulindlela wema mkombozi yonyana wami yena uyashada namhlanje fulindlela wema sa sabalobo yena wami ujagile si yamana yonyana wami ujagile this time makademe Sucesso spes, susem shatwe, yachatisa namhlanje. Angela shate bulindela. What's up? Bulindela, where my we know what? Yeah, we are shot that comes us. When you know I'm going to give it. God, you're oh, you know what? Hey, talking my God, so say, Tusemshakwe, yashatika namhlanje. Angeke, asake kulindela, kulindela. Never look more. Before in never look more. Our number was girl, look for. When they just go, look for. I never look for. I never look for. Never look for. Never look more. Never look more. Just what you know. Just what's the matter? Touch. What were you? Just touch. Sakuga sat. Teapot. Sakuga sat. Teapot. Sakuga sat. Teapot. Sakuga sat. Teapot. How you mama you mama. Teapot. How you mama you mama. Teapot. You mama you mama. Teapot. How you mama you mama. Teapot. Touch. I'm sorry to see my friend. Where were you? What did that talk about? What? Oh, you mama. Oh, you mama. Oh, you mama. Oh, you mama. Hey, your mama. Hey, your mama. Hey, your mama. Oh, your mama. Ladies and gentlemen, in this wonderful mood, can you please have a toast? May Your Excellency, Mr. President, your guest of honor, can you please have a toast in this beautiful mood right now? Teapot. 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 Teapot.
Touch. Thank you so much. Hello. Hey, pata, pata. Hey, pata, pata. Hey, pata, pata. Hey, pata, pata. Pata, pata. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Let me propose a toast. I propose the toast for the prosperity of PAP for many years to come. Yes. And I propose a toast for the work of the Pan-African parliamentarians to succeed in all their functions, their endeavors. And I propose also to the support of the African Union to PAP as one of its organs and support to the Pan-African Parliament. Hooray!
Cheers! Cheers! Cheers!
The cake. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we proceed straight to the cutting of the cake of the celebration of tonight's wonderful function. We'll allow Your Excellency, Mr. President, and your guest of honor, Her Excellency, and all the Bureau members to kindly join us at the cutting of the cake. Please, thank you. Kanyo, where are you?
I think as we cut this cake, let's celebrate 20 years of PAP in remembrance of our forefathers and mothers of Africa who fought for the liberation of Africa. And let's also celebrate on behalf of the young people who entertained us here. And let's be proud of ourselves.
One Africa, one voice.
One Africa, one voice.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk of our slogan, One Africa, one voice. Shika basi.
No, you do it yourself.
No, tunashika wote. Ah. Sawa. So it's
Hold your hands, yes.
yeah. It's women's power.
Two.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bob. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bob. Happy birthday to you. Freedom. Freedom. Okay, the mic is working.
Freedom is coming tomorrow. Get up, prepare for your freedom. Get up, prepare for your freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. It's coming tomorrow. It's coming tomorrow. It's coming tomorrow. Thank you so much.
It's with the lady.
This one. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for the morale. Thank you for the morale. We are here to celebrate. And I see you dancing, smiling, laughing, which is good. At this juncture, after cutting the cake, we have a token of appreciation for our great president of PAP, Dr. Mongela. So will you allow me to present a gift. What is it? Yes. We want you to remember forever the Africa that you led at PAP by displaying this souvenir somewhere in Tanzania, where you wake up almost every day, see it and remember that PAP is still yours. So we've given you the PAP. Asante sana. Nashukuru. Asante. Honorable Lucia Passos, Deputy President in the Bureau, you can lead us in thanking our guests of honor and all those that have attended the function.
Speaking French?
Any language we are African. Swahili.
No Swahili. Portuguese? You know Portuguese?
Portuguese.
Muito obrigada, Sr. Presidente. Para mim é uma grande honra dirigir as palavras de agradecimento a esta senhora que now I said in English, you are a mother for PAP. A primeira mulher que teve a responsabilidade de organizar a nossa casa parlamentar. Je ne sais pas si la traduction ou non. Ah, c'est coupé? Ok, je vais essayer de parler en français ou tu fais la traduction, Rui? Com inglês? Ok. Ok. O Rui vai me ajudar com a interpretação, vou falar em português. É uma enorme honra, prazer estar aqui ao lado desta senhora, que carregou nas costas uma instituição continental. E hoje eu pude perceber o quanto ela vibrou na organização desta nossa casa parlamentar.
It is a great honor for me being close to this great woman who carried a continental organization in her back. And it's impressive me to see how she worked hard to build this parliamentary house.
É uma inspiração para a nova geração.
She is an inspiration for the new generation.
E o Parlamento Pan-Africano, neste momento, é um parlamento renovado. Temos várias gerações no parlamento e temos muitas mulheres jovens e também homens jovens no Parlamento Pan-Africano com a responsabilidade de seguir o legado deixado por esta grande senhora.
And the Pan-African Parliament now is a renewed parliament with many generations. We have many young men and women with the responsibility to follow the legacy of this great woman.
Eu queria terminar o meu agradecimento com o seguinte desafio, senhora Presidente. Vai ser eterna Presidente do Parlamento Pan-Africano. Não há ex-presidente, a senhora é Presidente do Parlamento Pan-Africano. O meu desafio é que o Presidente atual, Chief Sharambira, com a mesa, possamos organizar um workshop com a correct, eficácia e o Ministro de Negócios Estrangeiros, neste momento, responsável pelo Conselho Executivo, para que a senhora fale como falou aqui hoje.
I want to end my vote of thanks with a challenge to the Madam President. You are always the President, not former President, but still the President of the Pan-African Parliament. A challenge to the current President, Honorable Chief Charambira, that we organize a workshop with the PRC, the F-15, so that the Honorable President Mangala can address this gathering.
Senhora Presidente, o que sai da sua boca vem da sua alma. A senhora transmitiu aqui a vivacidade daquilo que foi a criação do Parlamento Pan-Africano. Que Deus te abençoe e que nos dê a oportunidade de continuar a celebrar consigo muitos e muitos anos do Parlamento Pan-Africano e também da sua vida.
Madam President, the words out of your mouth are the words out of your soul. You've given us a demonstration of what it took to build the Pan-African Parliament, and we hope to carry on with you for a long, long time.
Caros colegas deputados, temos uma grande missão. Temos que conseguir transformar o PAP num parlamento legislativo, que é o desejo desta senhora.
Dear honorable colleagues, members of parliament, we have a great mission, which is to turn this parliament into a legislative parliament, which is the greatest wish expressed by this great lady.
Não importa os desafios, juntos somos capazes, por uma África, uma voz. Muito obrigado.
No matter what the challenges lay ahead of us, together we can, for one Africa, one voice. Thank you very much.
Yes, before I leave this stage, I have some other survivors I've seen. Dickie, where are you? And then the photographer, Nani. And Morad. Who else is the survivor who I didn't mention? Morad. Where are you hiding? Can you come here and we have a picture for our remembrance? Oh, they are gone. Oh, they are drunk. Dick, where are you?
I think you go to the Honorable Soda.
Hmm?
I think you go to Honorable Soda to the house.
Who is that? Yes. So, where is the photographer? Give a camera to you are here. Give your camera to your. Okay, let's have a beautiful picture with you survivors. I remember them. They all worked. Morad worked in the secretariat of the parliament, and Deiki was here with us. And yeah. I'm sorry that I didn't look at you. Yes, and Doris. Anybody whom I left out among the survivors? 20 years is a long, long way. Peters. You go up. Where is he? If he's not in, then let's count him out. After that, I want to say thank you. It has been a wonderful evening, and let's keep PAP moving. Don't fear any other organization. You are the top of the organizations. You have the power to say no and yes, and you must build Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Asante sana.
Asante.
Asante sana.
And child so child so and child so Lost my way, lost my way, lost my way.